What's up, Matthew here with MatthewCreating.com, bringing you the best tips and tools for the MPC Live. And in this video, I'm going to break down the beat that I did for the 5 MPC producers flip the same sample. So this is the first video that was done, and I'm going to bring you right into my MPC Live, tell you everything that I did with this beat. Let's get into it. So if you listen to this first sequence, you'll hear that sample. So first things first, let's talk about the sample. I know I already went over it, but I want to cover it again, just in case you didn't see. So here's the sample. All right, so what I did with the sample is I only kept the first region of it. So if you listen, here's the whole sample, okay? All right, it had a great sound. So originally, I really chopped that thing up. Like I took a little piece of it, you know, because if you listen, there's a bass right there. There's a bass note, and then there's like high parts, like right in here. There's high guitar parts. So what I did is I took those pieces and I made it I made my own thing out of it, and I pitched this thing down, and dude, it was like really experimental, weird and creepy sounding. So I decided to get against that project, scrap that. I started a new one. So what I did is I copied this over, normalized it, tuned it up 3, and then I trimmed this section out of it. I only kept the beginning section, and that gave me this right here. Now this right here is perfectly timed at that BPM, and I thought that was a good BPM. So I just went with that BPM for the actual sequence, as you can see right there. Now let me show you how I came up with 71.38 BPM. So before you do anything, push detect BPM. What you do is you detect it. It's going to say it's 60.02. Fine. Go ahead and close that. Now, once you tune it, you're going to change the BPM of it, because 60.02 is the BPM of this without it being tuned. So if you go from BPM, you'll see when I pitch it, it's going to make the BPM 71.38. So that's how you come up with the BPM. That's how I came up with this BPM. And then after you get everything what you want it to in here with the tuning, just push 2 sequence. And what that does is it puts the BPM on your sequence, and you got an exact BPM from that sample. And it actually worked out nice because it gave me perfect chops. And I'll show you what I mean by that. If you go back to sample edit, come over here to chop, all you have to do is go to regions and then put this on 8. And then that's exactly what I did for it. All right, so it's timed pretty good right there. And you could also go to your BPM, make this 2 bars, make this quarter notes, and it'll give you the exact same results. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Then I came over here, and I went over the program edit. I made this mono so I could do like weird things. You know, and the sample cut itself off. You know what I'm saying? Then what I did, come back over here, and I just filter out some of the low frequencies at 400 hertz. So nothing under 400 hertz is actually being played. So anyway, those are the chops. And if you come back, let's go ahead and go back to main for a second. Here's where the actual MIDI events are in the sequence here. All right, so you can see it goes from pad 1 to 5. I kept it super simple because the previous one I did was so overly complicated. I was just like, listen, let's just keep it simple. You know, let's make this beat kind of boom a little bit. That's what I did with the sample. Let's go back to song mode. So you'll notice in the beginning here, there's a drum kit that comes in. All right, a really lo-fi distorted kit. All right, so let me go ahead and show you what that drum kit is. All right, I went crazy with the drums. I tried a bunch of stuff out. Right here, it's actually this kit. And what this kit comes from is actually my expansion pack download that I have in the link of the descriptions of my videos. It's right here. It's this expansion kit. It has these 8 kits in it. So this particular kit is right here. All right, so that's the drum brute that I sampled, you know, and when I sampled it, I didn't put a lot of effects on it. So this is why I didn't put a lot of effects on it, because it's up to you to kind of shape the sound how you want. All right, so the drum brute has a nice clean sound to it. And, you know, you could take that kit and make it your own, and like I did here. So I put the maximizer on it, which really didn't do anything to it, to be honest. I don't even know why it's still on there. But anyway, I put the transient shaper on there, which gave it a little bit more like attack, it sounds like if you listen to that snare. But then I put this lo-fi on here, and it gave it that really distorted sound because I really turned the bit depth down on it. All right. And then I put the filter on there, so it cut out all the low frequencies. So that's what I did with that drums on the intro there. And then that's pretty cool there. So let's go ahead, go back to menu, to the song. And you'll notice this other kit comes in on the second sequence in the song. All right, it's got the guitar chops, it's got that second drum kit, and it has that original drum kit. So that cutting the frequencies off on that first kit made it to where that kit could fit with the second kit that came in, because that second kit has a lot of low frequencies and it's just a lot going on. And it, you know, it really booms, right? So if you listen to it, it also goes with that bass. So let me show you what I mean. If you come back to main, here's that drum kit. So this is also from that sample pack. So if you come over here, this is actually this one here. Wait, this one. Wait, which one was it? Yeah, it's that one right there. So it's actually that kit right there. All I did to it is put a maximizer on it. So here's the original kit. But when I put that maximizer on there, it really, you know, compressed the sound. It's basically like a super compressor on it, and it really gives it a nice emphasis on that kick. So if you listen to it without it. All right, so it doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't sound as intense and strong. So if you put that on, it really slams it. That's how I got that kick to sound like that. All right, and then the snare and the claps play. So you look right there. Here's the sequence of the drums. And then I also use this other kit right here. So if you look, I used the hi-hats from this kit, and I used the snare from this kit. So here are the hi-hats, and here's the snare. All right, so this is actually chopped up from a loop. And it gave the drums a nice full sound, okay, using all those elements. And there's one more thing in this sequence that I did, and that's right here. That's with this bass. Right here is a bass, and I recorded this from my mixer. I plugged the guitar into my mixer because my mixer has a high Z. All right, it's that Soundcraft mixer, but it has the guitar input, and I put an auxiliary out of the mixer into the MPC Live, recorded it right into here. So let's hear the original. That's the original bass sound. But then I added some distortion to it. All right, and then the Mother Duckers, I didn't really use it on this sequence. You'll see there's nothing going on. But that distorted bass went with that really dirty kick drum, and I thought that they sounded kind of neat together, so that's why I kept it on there. All right, so there you go. And I kept that bass a little bit lower in the mix because that kick drum is just beating so hard, and it kind of just complements that kick drum. So there's that sequence there. Let's go ahead and go back to song mode. You'll notice I kind of switched up the drums a little bit to give it, you know, a shifted feel, like a syncopated feel. And then what I did is I added a guitar into it, and I plugged the guitar right into the MPC because the guitar is like an acoustic guitar and it has a line out. All right. And I just plugged it right into here. So if you go back to the menu, go back to that guitar, let's go ahead and get to where we can see it. Where was that guitar? All right, so here's that guitar, and I put the ensemble on it, and that's really what's giving it that weird sound. That ensemble with the reverb, it's really what's doing it. I put the EQ on there to kind of clean out some of the lower sounds, give it a nice clean sound in the mix. That's what it originally sounded like. And that reverb is really what gives it the sound. With that stereo width, and then the EQ kind of just help it give it a little more shape. So yeah, that's what I did with that guitar right there. And then, and then again, I kind of messed with the chops a little bit. I added a couple little different areas on the chops. Actually, let's listen to that, because that was kind of fun to do as well. So if you listen. That was kind of fun to do. Anyway, let's go ahead, go back to the menu to song mode. Right here, let's listen to this sequence. All right, so there's that crash cymbal. So I added that crash cymbal. That was just a stock sound that came with the MPC Live. And then that bass kind of plays through. And then that snare comes in. So let me show you that drum kit. All right, so if you come back to your analog rhythm kit here, that maximizer's compressing so hard. It kind of gives it a weird sound to that cymbal, and that cymbal is actually part of that kit, but it kind of gives it like a whoosh, whoosh, because that maximizer is compressing so hard. But anyway, I thought that was cool. If you notice, this snare comes in. All right, so it comes in with this heavy reverb snare. So I just added a reverb on that snare. I copied this snare over and then added that reverb to it. You can see right there, reverb. And then over here, here's reverb on this one as well. So that's what hits, and then in the next area, you'll hear some reverb on the drum. So let me show you. All right, and then it goes into this part, which at this point I switched the drum kit kick, the actual kick, over to this one. All right, because there was so much other stuff going on with that sample. I wanted to take your attention from the kick drum and put it on to that guitar sample. And I kind of changed the bass line a little bit, added a couple extra notes. All right, and if you listen, that snare drum's hitting, but it's not 3 different snare sounds. It's just one snare sound with a little reverb on it. So I kind of brought the drums back a little bit so that weird chopped up guitar loop can play. Yeah. And then you'll notice I kind of added a couple more chops in this sequence. Give it more of a glitchy type of feel. And then I added like a little drum roll and then a crash cymbal to come into the next part. And the next part actually uses the reverse of the actual sample chops. So if you listen. And I also brought in that drum kit. All right, so that's this part here where it's the reverse, and then I added some reverb to it. All right, so it's the reverse of the sample chops. It's the same chops, they're just reversed, and then I added that reverb to it to give that nice sound to it. And then you'll notice when the drums come back in, they use that chop there, and then it comes in hard. And then this next section, I actually used the mother ducker, so I'll show you what I did. So you notice the drums come in, they're nice, mellow, but I used the mother ducker to kind of duck the bass, because if you listen, the bass comes in too. So here's a drum. It's just on the input here, on bus 1. And then this bass right here comes in, so let's solo that. So I put the ducker on it. Yeah, let me just let you. It kind of cuts out some of the attack of that bass, and then that way it just is kind of smooth sounding. It's just like boo, and then when the kick hits, it leaves room for the kick to kind of, I don't know, it just smooths it out. All right, anyway, let's go ahead and take that off solo, go back to the song, and that's pretty much most of the song. And then I added a couple little drum fills, and then right here I added some hi-hats in there, and then I added this right here, the tube synth. So if you listen, which is a shorty preset. I just messed with the reverb and the delay and some of the settings just to tweak it slightly. And then I added those hi-hats. And then I added the auto pan on there. All right, and I just auto panned it to quarter notes to just give a little bit more movement at the end of it, because it was already grooving. All right, so you're already in the groove. It just gives it a subtle change. This way, there's still movement, but you still got the groove. All right, so that's why I did that. And then the song ends, and then we're done. That was the whole thing. Boom. There you go. That's everything I did with this beat. Look in the description. I got a link for that drum kit if you wanted to download that analog rhythm kit. And it's got a few other kits in that sound pack if you want to go ahead and use those sounds. All right, and there's other different resources in the description. So go ahead and check out the description for some links. All right, I enjoyed making this beat, and I enjoyed doing the producer collaboration. You know, I think everybody did great. Hopefully there'll be more in the future. All right, so I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link to the original video over here. And then there's actually a second producer flip that came out, so I'll leave the link over here to that one. And you know, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the sample flips. My name's Matthew. Continue to create music, and we'll talk soon.